Okay, so here today we are in Calgary, and we're in a beautiful backyard of one of my close personal friends and mentors, Dahl. Ron and I met at Country Hills on the golf course, but we have a lot more similarities than just golf. Today we're going to dive in and get to know Ron a little bit better, and we'll learn his story and how maybe his story might relate to the new Nine brand. Firstly, I want to welcome you to the New Nine podcast and YouTube channel. So thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. This is quite an honor.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. So I'm trying to think back of when you and I would have first met. So obviously our connection is the golf course, Country Hills.
Correct.
At Country Hills, there's what's called Men's League. So Men's League is kind of a team of, how many teams are there? 20 teams?
It's 20 teams, yeah.
20 teams, you play once a week and it's doubles match play. But these teams are built up of about 10 guys per team, yeah. Right? You guys won how many years in a row did you guys win?
We won 3 years in a row, and no team had won more than once, so we were the only multiple year winners, and then we came in second the next 3 years when, of course, you were on our team.
Yeah, exactly. So I could remember being at a Flames game.
We were always just really, really close.
Right.
Oh, that's right. I remember now.
We were at a Flames game. Now that you remember, we were in the Platinum Suite, and we'd kind of bumped shoulders. Yeah. And I said, Ron, you got to get me off of my Men's League team and get me onto your team.
And we were looking.
So it worked out that I was able to hop on. But the funny thing is, you guys haven't won since I've been on your team.
We'll win again.
So another funny story that I was thinking of, I went into your office when you were back working at Wise.
Yeah.
And there was a picture in your office. You had kind of a shrine of a whole bunch of cool pictures, but one specific picture, it was you and someone, I can't remember who it was, but you're wearing the same shirts.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
I used to have a box at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, so I would, I had it for basically 6 days, and I would sell all the tickets for the weekends off, and the Tuesday and Wednesday pro-ams, just give the tickets away to people. So because I got the box every year, I was invited to the sponsor on the Monday night or the Tuesday night at Waste Management. They invite all the sponsors there, and they have a lot of celebrities there. So Dr. J, I saw him the year before I had the picture taken. I saw him, and I was out smoking a cigar, and he just came up and we chatted and smoked a cigar. And so the next year I walk in and I have a lot of Robert Graham shirts, and I've got this Paisley Wild one, as you saw in the picture, and I walk up to Dr. J, and he's wearing the exact same shirt, and I said, I got to get your picture. Remember we smoked? He goes, yeah, I remember you. And so it was kind of cool. So
what are the chances?
Yeah, it was like 1 in a zillion, but I felt sorry for him because I stopped and talked to him, and once we got the picture taken, there was like 50 people waiting in line to get their picture taken, and I went, oh my God, I'm sure glad I'm not a celebrity.
Look what you started.
Yeah, and I felt bad for him. But
that's too funny.
Very nice man, though.
So the New Nine podcast is all about golf and just how it relates in general. What was kind of your introductory into golf?
Well, I grew up in a small town of Vulcan, Alberta, and so when you grow up in a small town, you play hockey, you curl, you play baseball, and you golf, whatever it is, you just get involved, right? So Vulcan had a 9-hole golf course, and I used to play baseball, and when baseball was done, I started playing golf. So then in the wintertime, you play hockey and curl, but they have a 18-hole golf course now. So, but the original 9 is the one that I grew up playing as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you good off the start? Or?
No, I was horrible. I played with, my first set of clubs were ladies' clubs because I couldn't, I was probably 12, 13. And I really wasn't big into golf, but one of my best friends was Bill, and so he would drag me out there, and then I got, as I got older, I got into it a lot more. So yeah.
What was kind of the turning point where you started to say, you know what, this is more than just a game that I want to try to do better at it?
I got so when I started working at Oil Patch in 1977, I'd work on a schedule of 15 days off and 6 days off. So during those 6 days off, I would try to go play 6 rounds of golf, and then I started getting better at it and hit the ball further and scoring better. And so, I was probably a 12 handicap, in my early 20s and up till I was about 30, and then started getting to be a single-digit handicapper. Golf is a sport that you get out of it what you put into it. So the more I put into it, the more I got out of it. So
cool. Do you have any hole-in-ones?
I have 2 hole-in-ones, yeah.
Where were they?
I got one on number 4 in Talons, and then I got one in Sundry.
Okay.
But the one in Sundry is more interesting because I got it on the 17th hole at Sundry, and we ended up playing 27 holes that day. So we played that same hole again, and I took the same club and I hit the same shot, and it lipped out and it was only 4 inches from the cup, or I would have had two in the same day.
That's crazy. I can't imagine having two in the same day.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. We thought it's probably quarter inch, half an inch from going in the hole. So
right. So new nine is all about the front nine sucks. You have triple bogeys, double bogeys. You hit it in the water. You hit it into the rescue. And the second nine is trying to learn from those mistakes and to better yourself, get more pars, more birdies. Can you remember the worst day of golf you ever had?
I was just going through the questions before you guys showed up here, and I was that's the only question I was really rocking, and because I love the sport, I just block the bad ones out, and I really don't. There's bad nines, and I've had lots of Ray Charles on the front and Raymond Floyd on the back, but that's what us old guys call it. But I've had a lot of those 47 37s, 46 36. But if I play bad, I come back the next day. It doesn't really bother me. So
I like to think of myself as a fair weather golfer, that if the wind is high or the rain's coming, I don't want any part of the course.
Yeah.
You not so much. I've played with you in events that if the round takes off, you got your rain cart cover, you got a heater in there, you got the tunes going, you got a cigars. That I've definitely played some rounds of golf with you that the weather was absolute trash, and we made the most of it. So
exactly.
It's fun being paired with you in those types of events because A, you're prepared, and B, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you got my garage and my back of my Lexus are full of little things like the cart cover and the heater and that. It could be 8 degrees out, but it could be 30 degrees inside the cart cover. So
yeah. Can you think of the best day of golf you ever had?
There's some days I broke par, or I think some of the funnest days is even last year I went out to Banff with Craig Dahl and Jeff Snyder, and it was probably one of the most funnest days I've ever had in the golf course. We laughed so hard, and because Snyder and I go at it all the time, and I used to organize a golf tournament in Cranbrook. I passed it off. It's called the Cranbrook Oilman's Invitational, and I was on the committee for 25 years and ran it. And it's a very fun event. Those are like 6-hour rounds. A lot of 2-day week, 3-day. You play golf on the way out there, and then you play the 2-day event. And there's Calcutta money in that, so it's a lot of fun. But it's a lot of networking and business done on the course, and you get to spend the whole weekend. And usually I used to handpick my teams for fun, not to win, but just to have a lot of fun. So I had a lot of great years out there. So.
Well, that's good to know. It's not always where you're playing, it's who you're playing with.
That's exactly
right. I've been a part of your foursomes a handful of times, and I've had fun every single time. So you're definitely a blast to be paired with. If you could play one course for the rest of your life, what course do you think that would be? A course that you've played?
I've played a lot of great courses. I played Royal County down in Northern Ireland, and I have a picture of that in my office, if you remember, but it has 18 hard but fair holes, and I think that's probably one of the greatest. I've played Pebble Beach and a lot of different courses, but Royal County down was one of the most amazing. Yeah.
So if you were to plan a golf destination trip and money's no object, you can go wherever you want, would you say that Ireland is the spot to go? Yeah,
I've been to Scotland 3 times and Ireland once. So if you had the money, I would spend 2 weeks in Scotland and 2 weeks in Ireland and then come home, because links golf is the best. I love it. It's fantastic.
If you were to plan a golf vacation on a budget, maybe somewhere a little closer to home, a little bit more affordable, what do you think is the best destination to do?
Yeah, there's some good buys in like Southern California, and Calgary, the golf is so cheap, and if you get into Phoenix, it can be pretty expensive. I've been to Texas. There's some really good if you go in the fall, like Reynolds Plantation, Barton Creek in San Antonio, there's some really good. They have some really good stay and play packages in the fall. So yeah.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that you had a booth at the Waste Management Open.
Yes.
Is that the best PGA Tour event you've been to?
It's the funnest.
Yeah.
I've been to 2 Masters. I've been to 2 Open Championships. So I love the Open Champ. The Masters it's a Masters. So yeah.
Would you say the access to the players or to the tournament is better at the Waste Management?
It's fantastic because the driving range is very accessible. Have you played TPC Scottsdale?
I have, and I've played the neighboring courses around there, kind
Yeah.
of in that Greyhawk area, but
Yeah.
not the stadium course.
The stadium course it's a great. It was built for viewing, and there isn't a bad seat, and they've built up all the boxes and that. But there's mounting there, so you can get to any on any hole and have a good view.
So when you're down there at the Waste Management Open in your booth, are you bringing clients down with you, or
Yeah.
what type of business is going on when you're at these types of events?
So basically, we used to have a house down there, or a townhome, for 10 years, and then so I would bring clients and a business partner and 2 clients down there, and then a lot of my friends would come down. There's so many guys from Calgary that would come down that have places down there. So, you just, I didn't have any problem selling the tickets when the oil business when the price of oil was $100, but as the last 5 years, it's been tough. So I gave my box up, and I went one more year after because I have a friend in Vancouver that has a box, and so I was able to get some tickets from him. So.
It's funny you mentioned the current state just of in Calgary and oil and gas in general.
Yeah.
It's no secret that Calgary's been an oil and gas town for as long as I can remember, and probably as long as you can remember,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That was the industry to be in, and
Yeah.
it still provides a very good living, but just based on things economically, it's not going the way that it used to.
No.
So now you're kind of in semi-retirement.
Yeah.
Would you call it retirement?
Yeah, I'm just, me, I'm restless. I organize hockey teams, hockey tournaments. I'm an organizer, so I can't sit around too much. So even my present job right now, I'm not getting paid for it, but I love going to work every morning. I was there at 6 o'clock this morning. So.
Well, that brings me to my next question. So you are a volunteer
Yes.
acting general manager of our golf course, Country
Yes.
Hills. So what is it like now to be on the other side, of the ropes, and to be part of the operations of how the club works?
It's it is a business, but it's a service business, and we have a lot of great employees, and it's doing the COVID situation that we've had to come in and call. I really enjoy working with Colin Lavender. We have a blast, and I think we're starting to make a difference there, and but I can put that on my resume now that I was a general manager of a golf course. It is a different type of business, but my office is pretty close to the first tee, so
Yeah, it's got its perks, I imagine.
Yeah.
Every time I
Yeah.
pull up to the course, you got that front spot right
Yeah.
beside the clubhouse, so I can
Yeah.
see your car. That's funny. Looking back on your career, you're obviously someone that I look up to as a very successful person, that I wish one day I could have the success that you've had. Did your life turn out how you thought it would when you're 20s? Or in your 20s, what was your vision of success?
I had no really expectations. I was just a hard worker. I really like going out and working out in the oil fields on rigs, service rigs, drilling rigs, and different servicing applications. But when I got into my 30s, I saw a lot of you work for people and you make them a lot of money, and said, I want to be one of those guys someday. So I know that you share the same interest in being an entrepreneur, and so if you don't like working for other people, then you become an entrepreneur. So yeah.
Right.
And sometimes it turns out very good, and sometimes it doesn't. So,
Yeah. Knowing what you know now, just about in life or business, what advice would you give yourself if you're to talk to your 20-year-old self?
Oh, I would have bought way more real estate instead of
Okay.
stocks, and
I thought you were
would
going
have
to
bought.
say Microsoft or Apple or something.
Well, yeah, those things you don't know, but really, like in the city of Calgary, when I moved here, you can buy houses pretty cheap. The mortgage rates are high back in the early 80s, but if you could have bought more inner city land and that, in houses, you could do as good as being an entrepreneur, really. So
Okay.
yeah.
When I say success now, knowing everything you know now, what comes to mind when you think of success?
Oh, I think, for me, it's just family. I have a wife of 40 years, 3 children, 1 grandchild, and it's, to me, that's money. Money can buy you things, but it's really the success. It's how people view you and your family. And to me, family is everything. So
They say one of the key components to success are habits. What are some of the habits that you've had along the way that you've kind of stayed true to?
this one, hard work. There's a lot of guys that are a lot smarter than I am. You can outwork a lot of people because they have lazy tendencies, or they're not that hard. They think they're smarter than you. So you can, if you're willing, it's just like being an athlete. If you work harder than someone else, if you have that gift. So hard work takes you a long way in anything, really.
Right. We mentioned kind of the economic times that we're in now, with oil and gas not being as prominent as it once was. Do you see any industries that are prevailing in economic times like this, or do you see any trends in industries that might boom in the next couple of years?
Yeah, it's hard to say right now. It's so everything is, in our provinces relies on oil. So I think there will be. I just don't know what they are right now. So being involved in that business for 43 years, you kind of get blinders on, and there's some, I have a friend, she runs a boxing studio, and it's Rumble Boxing. It's very successful, and she worked in the oil business for 10 or 12 years, and she's, I have another friend that, her boyfriend runs a restaurant, and it's very successful. So it's there is other things, other businesses other than the oil business, that's for sure. So
you're someone that I look up to as a mentor. You're someone I would call a mentor.
Thanks.
We talk regularly, and I
Yeah.
try to pick your brain as much as I can. Do you still stay in touch with any of your mentors?
Not as much, because I'm 63 years old and they're in their 70s. I had a lot of guys that, and I've mentored a lot of younger people in the industry as well, because when I was younger, I only had 2 or 3 guys that I learned a lot from, and so you just and all those guys were just hardworking guys. So my father was a hard worker, my grandfather, so it just, and all my kids work very hard. So, and really, networking is one of the greatest things you can do. Get involved in hockey and golf and different things, and volunteer and do stuff, because it's not what you know, it's who you know, really. So yeah.
That's fair, because it's, we were talking about this before on camera, just the network of people at the golf course, that they come from so many different walks of life, and they're all gathered in the same place just for the love of golf.
Yeah, you get people at Country Hills that are plumbers playing with lawyers, and they're just golf buddies. That's the nice thing about golf, and that's the relationships. It's hockey and golf, I built more business relationships off those than any other. Yeah.
To tie this all into the New Nine brand, can you think of a specific instance that you think that I've had a New Nine experience, that I've been beaten up, I've been pushed down, I've been told no, and then you just see the light at the end of the tunnel? What's a New Nine experience that you've had?
Yeah, the oil industry is, you hitting the cycle. So selling your company, like I've sold companies at perfect timing, and then started companies at bad timing, and haven't been that successful. So the oil industry is very cyclical. So it's kind of like a New Nine type of thing. So yeah, and even right now, as bad as things are coming out of this, there's going to be some people that make a lot of money, because there's going to be a lot of opportunities, because it will turn around eventually. So
right.
Yeah.
Ron, that's all I have for you. I really
Okay.
appreciate you being a part of the very first New Nine podcast, as well as the YouTube channel. So I'm looking forward to putting this all together, and I really appreciate you being my first guest.
Well, thanks for having me, and you worked with me on the marketing plan at Country Hills, and it's really taken off this year. Our sales there for memberships and that has really down years really been very solid. I'd like to thank you for having a part of that. So
yeah, well, thanks for including me. It was nice to be the youngest guy in that room by 20 years.
Yeah, well, you're there for a reason.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. In normal circumstances, I'd shake your hand, but due to COVID, I'll leave that one out.
Yeah.
So again, thanks very much, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you and Mark for coming over. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Okay, I'd like to thank all of you guys for tuning into the first podcast and YouTube channel for New Nine Golf. I'm going to be pumping out as much content as possible. If you want to hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications, that way you know when new videos are coming. I'd really appreciate that. Leave a comment. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you didn't like, and I'll take as many of those recommendations as possible, and I look forward to building you guys some new content. Stay tuned. Check out our website, new9golf.com. See what hats are in stock, and do your best to support the golf community. Thanks so much.